Hi guys. Well, I guess that takes away my intro. Yeah, for those who don't know me, I'm Brady Ellenbecker. I'm a sophomore here at UNI, and it's just funny thinking a year back from now. I don't even think I was in a connection group a year from today. I just saw my Bible that I got on March 7th of last year, so that's kind of interesting. But last year, I was pretty loyal going to Salt Church, and then Stan second semester every Thursday would come up and be like, hey, you connected? I'm like, I don't even know what you mean. Like, connected with what? Sure, no. The next week, he'd come up again and he'd say, hey, you connected? And I finally got to the point where he offered B-dubs. I think he saw I was getting annoyed. So he's like, hey, you go to B-dubs, or I'll take you to B-dubs if you go to Salt twice. So a friend and I, we take that deal. Probably the most awkward conversation I had over B-dubs, but I got free B-dubs. So that was weird, I guess. Today, I'm going to be preaching from James, chapter 1, verse 19 through 27. Little background. For those of you who don't know who James is, he's the half-brother of Jesus. It says in John 7:5 that James wasn't a believer of Jesus, and none of his brothers were. So, I kind of thought that. If my brother would come to me and say that, I don't know what I would say. 1 Corinthians 15:7 is when Jesus approaches James and is like, hey, be my disciple. Him and John joined. One thing I noticed in Acts 2:14 through 36, Peter is given a sermon at Pentecost. And the end of, when it's talking about the end, it says, those who accepted his message were baptized, and about 3,000 were added to their family or whatever. But can you imagine, 3,000 people being saved and baptized in the same day? I don't know who was off the fall retreat, but there were 15 people maybe stood up on Saturday night. It's just the best feeling ever. Being saved. If you're saved, you guys know what it feels like. It is a complete life-changing moment. Everything from that point is just different. And the Salt retreat, I was just so overwhelmed by those 15 people. Can you imagine 3,000? And then take baptism and add that all in one day. It's just amazing. And James is okay, that's my brother. That. There's been a few moments in my life where my siblings have kind of been up here and I'm down here, and I don't know. I don't know what I would feel there. He's Jesus. One time my sister, freshman year, she medaled at state track, and I'm down here. Bryce makes newspaper all the time about his wrestling, so I just kind of wonder what James would be feeling in that moment. So like I said, we're in James 1, 19. I'm just going to read it first. It says, my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. Those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues deceive themselves, and their religion is worthless. That one kind of hurt when I read it. I've been feeling very convicted by that. For the last verse, religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. So we're just going to go back to verse 19. It says, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak. All right, I'm sure we've all heard you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Nothing new there. But then I was thinking, when you're talking to someone, do you think, put yourself in their spot, and whereas you were looking at yourself, you feel like what they are saying is, important. They feel like you're in the conversation, and you feel that what they're saying is important. Callie's laughing, because sometimes she's talking, I was just let me tell my story. So, very convicted by this, too. I can't even say what it looks like. It's just, how would you feel if someone was talking to you and Stan kind of brought the stopwatch. Like, at first, maybe keep track of how much you're listening, how much you're talking. Body language, show you care, things like that. Goes on talking about anger. um, Mitch and I have been in a few arguments the last few weeks about oceans and stuff, so we're kind of talking about. He tells me the Gulf of Mexico is an ocean, so we're just not going to get into that. But anyways, talking about like anger. There's two types of anger. Like, I'm not gonna lie. After about 20 minutes, I'm just like, okay, this is starting to be a little too much, getting a little mad. And then I think of the anger that Paul and Stan kind of show when they're giving sermons, like the anger towards sin. Like, people are like, oh, God never gets mad. Like, he's God, he loves you. Like, no, God gets mad, and it's just so cool watching Stan and Paul, the passion that they speak with, like just the anger that they have for sin, and that's just something we should all have. Just hating sin and wanting to change that, get rid of that of our lives. I'm going to jump ahead to 22. It says, do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. It's important to understand the word and know the word, obviously, but if you ask me, I'd say it's much more important to do what it says and obey it. So I kind of Googled what is the Bible. I mean, we all know it's like the good news and stuff, but I was just curious what the internet said. Here's some things the internet said. It says, a treasury of insight as to who we are. We are not meaningless robots, but we are magnificent creatures of God who loves us and gives us a purpose and destiny. Another one I like says, a guide for living life to the full. It gives us a roadmap for the journey of life. Or to put it another way, on our voyage through the ocean, the Bible is our anchor. So going off that, I asked, how does the Bible say to live? Like, people are like, okay, well, we get that, but how do we do it? What does the Bible say? I found a verse in Matthew 22, verse 37. It says, Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourselves. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. I think of Jad's sermon yesterday. He talked about loving others. Like, if you just love someone, like, you're set. Like, you have those two things. You love God and you love others. Everything else will kind of fall into place. So I kind of struggle with it sometimes too. Mitch talked about loving our guys, like telling them like their strengths and stuff instead of like bringing them down. And I also have friends who I don't agree with the decisions they make. We'll put it that way. But I like to, like Mitch said again, clean yourself up before you like call others out. You're like, oh, well, these guys go out and party. These guys do this. Well, look at yourself. Like, what are you doing? You're lying. Who knows what you're watching in your spare time, how you dress. Like, yes, they're on a different level, but in God's eyes, they're not. It's like, it's kind of hard for me to like call them out when I think of it like that. I've just been feeling so convicted this week working on that and just cleaning all of those things up and thinking, hey, I'm a Christian, I'm better than these guys. Because, they say they're Christians too, but you're like, how can you be a Christian when you're out doing this? I mean, we all sin and do those things. Verse 23. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who's facing the mirror. Okay. My question for you guys is, do you put action to what you study? The question that Stan just asked, like the last time you watched TV, you turned it off and like were acting. Do you put the action like what you read? Like, do you practice what you're reading? I kind of thought to this myself. Like, how would you know if what you're doing, if you're practicing what you are reading? What I put down is your behavior and attitude, but at the same time, it's pretty easy to like know the answers and to pretend. I was guilty of it for the first semester. Like, I was guilty of it last year. Just like, to me, it's like the change of heart. Jesus works from the inside out. So, like, if your behavior or attitude is changing, but in your heart, you're just kind of like, I'm just kind of going through the flow, doing this. Like, just, it doesn't count, I guess, put it that way. Because behavior and attitude are one thing, but changing the heart's another. I'm going to jump ahead to the last verse here, because I feel like I'm going to be on this one a while. It says, those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues deceive themselves, and their religion is worthless. James was one of the very first books I read through when I first started reading the Bible. And James chapter 3 is something that has been in my mind for ever since then. James chapter 3, verse 4 and 5 say, or take ships as an example. Although they are so large and are driven by strong winds, they are steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants to go. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boast. So, basically that's saying that our tongue controls like where we go, just like the rudder on the boat controls the direction of that boat. So, I guess my question is, where's your tongue like been taking you lately? Are you bashing other people? Are you, sharing your faith to others, loving on others? Like we're called to. For me, I've just been people at home and my friends kind of know I'm involved in church now and are in a connection group and Christian, but I don't think they really get it. They're just kind of because I play video games with some of them, and they just always like bring it up and kind of make fun of Christians, and I just kind of like sit back. And, okay, because I don't want to like start argument. So this I was feeling very convicted again. Just like I want to like share the faith or share my faith to like my family and to all my other friends and people who just don't have that faith. And like I said, it's like the best feeling ever. Just watching someone like at the retreat, like it's just I was in tears. I won't lie. It was cool. When Allie stood up and then Josh, her fiance, was about to stand up, but he just couldn't. Like just the emotion and just the great feeling that is after. Like if you're not saved, I kind of suggest it. Like like I don't know how to word it. Like Kyle was saying yesterday, he was just like, I know what you're feeling now. It's cool. You don't know what to say. It's just cool and awesome. Like there's just no way to explain it. It's definitely a life changer. There's another verse that I really like. Romans 7:21. Paul wrote Romans in 7:21. It says, "So I find this law. Although I want to do good, evil is right there with me. For in my inner being I delight in God's law, but I see other law at work in me, waging war against the law of my mind, and making a prisoner of the law of sin at work within me. What a wretched man I am! Who will rescue me from this that is subject to death? Thanks be to God who delivered me through Jesus Christ our Lord. So then I myself, in my mind, am a slave to God's law, but in my sinful nature, a slave to the law of sin." So what's Paul saying here? Paul's saying that in his mind, he wants to serve God. He wants to be a warrior for Jesus Christ, showing pureness, loving others, doing all those things that everyone, that we all want to do, or I want to do anyway. But in his flesh, he's not doing those things. Our sins are covered, yes, by Jesus, but that doesn't mean you just go out and sin and like it's all good, That battle is like still within us. I just keep thinking of Ephesians chapter 6. It talks about the armor of God. Nathan Mowry came and spoke on that. And no, he didn't speak on that. He was saying that how do we like back up when we're kind of struggling or doing these things? And he just kept saying scripture, like just memorizing the word of God and doing daily devotion, living it out. I saw this on the internet. I can't remember who quoted it. I should have wrote it down. So this isn't my quote. I'm taking credit of it. He says, "God has come to overwhelm what overwhelms us." And to me, that was just so satisfying. Over this sermon, I've been overwhelmed. School, just everything. You're just feeling so overwhelmed, and it's just like the weight that Chad was talking about. You just have all this weight bearing down on you, but like, all of a sudden with God, that weight is just like slowly being lifted up. And to me, that's just encouraging, and it's just so awesome how this life is just a miss. Stan's talked about it. I know I brought it up a lot yesterday, and just the excitement. Like, you have, God willing, 80 years or whatever the life expectancy is, some fewer. Like, what are you going to do with those 80 years? Um, I still don't really know what I'm going to do with mine. But I guess I'm kind of going, I think, is that living out your faith is something that's hard to do, I guess. Well, for me anyway, like I said, it's been quite a ride. I just feel like I'm way back here, and God is like pulling me by the hood way forward, and it's awesome. Like, I'm nervous right now, but it's been a fun ride. It really has. I was excited to do this. I was very nervous last night. I saw you guys go, and it kind of made me excited till I got up here. But yeah, I guess this is the conviction that I've been feeling this week over this. Just all of my friends back at home who still don't really know the new me, like who I am now. I guess I've just been feeling so convicted over that, and I just want to like talk to them, my family, share them the good news of God and stuff. I guess what I want to challenge you guys to do is kind of the same thing. I know we all have that one person that we just kind of want to reach out to. Some more than others. Like, I could name a whole list full. It's just so hard. Like, since you're so close to them, best friends, family, whatever it is. I'm sure we've all had these kind of awkward conversations with family, and it's just so easy to go up to a stranger and tell them. But when it comes to dealing with family, it's just difficult. So I just want to challenge you guys, along with myself, to go out and find that person, share the good news to them, and kind of do what you do, I guess. I don't know how to put it. You didn't even put 10 minutes yet, have you? Oh, you have? Okay, that's good. I was like, it's been 10 minutes, hold that sign up. Like, let's go.
You're about there. You're good.
Oh, man. It's fun. If anyone, I suggest giving a sermon sometime. It's kind of fun. Kind of fun. Guys, I really don't know what to say. Like I said, it's just been a fun ride. I don't know you guys very well, so I don't know who's all saved and who's not. But I guess, what does it look like? I talked about earlier about the first two commandments: love God and loving others. I mean, what's it look like to love others? I kind of got my train of track back on. But I guess Nick was talking about yesterday, just the conversation he had. He just always texts his friend and is like, hey, I'm here for you. Have those hard conversations with people, and just do it in a loving way. Don't like show them that you're giving up on them. I've kind of done the same thing. I had a friend text me a while back, and he just told me how he just wants to quit partying and drinking and stuff. And I was like, I'm here for you. Like, I'll help you. I saw that weekend that he was out partying again, so I just was like, okay, you're not serious. I don't want to even deal with that. And that's just another person I've been feeling convicted by, that I haven't been loving him like, Austin and Stan and Mitch and everyone has loved on me, just giving up on them. So, like, I kind of want to change that and just continue loving on those guys, loving on my group, and just keep growing. Okay, I'm going to pray now. I don't know what to say. Dear God, thank you just for this opportunity. It was rough, but it's over. I just pray that everyone just takes this challenge that I've given them, and myself including, God. Just make a list of people that we want to pray for and just love and text and show them that you're here for them. Just thank you for everything you're doing here in Cedar Falls. And yeah, just thank you for your son. All the glory to you, God. It's awesome what you're doing here. We can't thank you enough. Praise in Jesus'